Ladies and gentlemen, fellas, we got some people, some patrons, some people in the Discord up in this live draft today. We need one more person. One more person, I'm sure it'll get filled. Best Ball Mania. $1,001 Rooskies. Imagine winning $1,001 Rooskies. Imagine capturing it on one of these streams. I mean, I plan to probably draft somewhere around, by the time this thing's all said and done, 80, maybe 80 best ball teams to 100. We're slacking. This is only like our 10th one. But there's a lot. It's only like 13% filled. We're pretty damn early. Like we just filled it perfectly. So maybe somebody watching this perhaps. But we just filled it. The draft is going to start in about a minute, so we can talk through it. I'll be using my rankings. All the player profiles are up on the draft guide. It's available for pre-order. And the draft guide will be officially out with the rankings completely updated for everything that's coming out over these next couple of weeks, mid-June. So I'm aiming for not next Friday, the Friday after it. I think that's the 16th. That is what we are aiming for there. But yeah, we got a little bit of a draft. And let's move myself around here. And let's increase this bad boy so we can see what we're doing here. So I ended up getting the 12th pick. What do you know? This is now back-to-back drafts, so we got the 12th pick. Last time we were able to get Zeke at the 12th overall pick and Aaron Jones right after that. And now trying to take away some, maybe not mistakes, but things that I noticed in that last draft. I went Zeke and Aaron Jones. Two, in my opinion, strong running backs. Zeke's my number 2 overall player right now. And you might think that that's crazy. That's fine. You can think I'm crazy. I have a video stating my case. You can state your case for Dalvin Cook or Derrick Henry or whoever you want, Saquon number 2. That's fine. I get it. It's all pretty close. But getting Zeke at the number 12 pick and Aaron Jones was my number 6 overall player at number 13 was pretty good. And this is the whole point of drafting early. I think that we're going to be getting some edges. I think people will start to realize in another month when more people do content, when people actually sit down and look at it, because it's still just the beginning of June. We are 2 months away from the preseason, the Hall of Fame game, which is exciting, but 3 months, a little more than that, away from the season. So people sit down and then start to realize some things about how this Cowboys offense is going to look, how bad the defense is still going to look, and how Zeke was the RB3 while Dak Prescott was healthy last year. And I think they'll start to realize some things there. But you're seeing guys go off the board here. Kamara goes 3rd overall. I just released a video earlier this week on how Alvin Kamara is somebody that I'm very worried about. He's currently my running back number 8 on the season. So, I mean, Eric doesn't make a terrible pick by any means. It's just the uncertainty at quarterback. Obviously, Kamara led all running backs 22+% target share last year, right? Absolutely insane. I mean, he beat out James White with like an 18%. That's how far of a difference it was. So we get some guys in here. Warden West, I believe in the Discord. I saw Warden West typing earlier. He goes Kelsey. Kelsey's going in the middle of the first a lot. I can never see myself getting there, but I understand why in these best ball tournaments, especially with $1 million to first, you have such a massive advantage. If you could secure a Kelsey or a Darren Waller, maybe even a Kittle, right? If you think Hawkinson breaks out, those types of guys, you can secure them early and have a massive advantage of guys scoring at the tight end position for you and increasing your overall seasonal points to get you just to the playoffs as the goal. You can see a guy like Travis Kelce going for 18 to 22 plus points a week when your tight ends are maybe getting you like 7 or 8 points. It's obviously massive. Zeke goes at the 1-8. My pick is coming up right now. I like to go running backs early. Cam Akers goes. If we're looking at the board right now, for me, there's a good amount of running backs left. Like there's Chubb, there's Aaron Jones. I'm very heavy on Aaron Jones right now. I just can't stop drafting the guy. John Kelly up in here. What's going on, John? I don't know if you are watching on the stream right now. You can comment if you are, but and now that I know that we're drafting right next to each other, I'm gonna have to shush a little bit because there's a chance that you're watching this. John Kelly does awesome MMA, UFC content for FTN. So let's see who he goes here. There's Chubb, there's Aaron Jones. He goes Stephon Diggs. All right, so I'm gonna go running back here. Chubb's, Aaron Jones, Mixon. These are all guys that I'm interested in. My highest ranked guy is Aaron Jones. I don't have a lot of Chubb though. Don't have a lot of Chubb go. I got back-to-back picks, so why am I even considering this? We're going to go Chubb, and we're going to go Aaron Jones. We think about Mixon, right? That's what we do here. And you can see I'm on the clock. Back-to-back picks, and really no reason not to. So we think about Mixon there, though, right? We get Aaron Jones and Chubb, 2 top 7 running backs. Jones is my number 6. Chubb's my number 7 ranked overall players, even ahead of other guys. For best ball, obviously Kelsey starts to come up in there. But we thought about Mixon there, but didn't end up pulling the trigger on Joe Mixon. Completely okay with that. So you can see a lot of running backs going early. I believe Jonathan Taylor was taken at the 1-5, kind of early. So John Kelly starting off with I would guess, somewhat zero RB strategy, or at least just snagging 2 stud wide receivers early. Stephon Diggs and A.J. Brown. I haven't built many lineups like that, but I'm not totally against it. Kelsey, though, for me is definitely a top 10 pick, in borderline even higher than that. he went in this one at the 1.7 in these best balls. Yeah, if you have any questions at all, you can drop them into the live chat. We're doing this stream live. We're going to be doing them every Friday, and then we'll be doing a couple others with some Discord members. So Waller's going early there. So that's actually really early on Darren Waller. I like the idea of getting to Darren Waller, but not that early personally for me. That's a little bit too early. Chubb, I'm okay with where he went. Najee Harris is still on the board. I think that's probably best availables left right now for me are going to be Joe Mixon, Devontae Adams, because I'm still expecting full-on Aaron Rodgers to be a Packer this year. The Packers organization recently over the past week has basically called this bluff and said, okay, we'll go retire or sit out the season. You're not getting traded. And that's kind of been the whole deal the entire time. So I love the mid-round pick, says Trevor. So you like to pick middle of the round? I don't mind the end of it. So last time when we were drafting at the 11 and the 12, I hate the bookends. I actually don't like drafting one overall, although you can kind of sometimes get like a Najee Harris if he falls. That was earlier in the process, not much anymore. But I actually don't mind. I don't mind getting these the quote unquote bookend picks. I'm actually rather fine with it. I actually like having the 12 because there's just loaded running backs there. What I did last time was then go wide receiver in the third round. And I went back-to-back wide receivers, and I went with Julio, and I can't recall who I got in the other spot, maybe a Michael Thomas with my 3-4 picks. I don't think I'm going to do that this time, and that's a really good pick there by Paulie. Paulie, there you go. I said don't fuck up. That's a good pick there. I think that you got Najee Harris at a nice value. You got Najee Harris at the 21st overall pick in this draft. I mean, he's going to be pushing a top 12 pick come August, right? So I don't think, depending on who's left on the board as we start to somewhat approach my pick, I don't think that I'm going to go yet again with a back-to-back wide receivers here. I think I'm going to get one, and then I'm going to get one running back. So we got 2 stud running backs early. I'll see who's left on the board. Unless there's 2 stud receivers, I think I'm going to probably go with one running back. So Ridley's off the board as well. Justin Jefferson goes. So in terms of wide receivers left, Michael Thomas, I believe, is the best available for me. Yeah, Michael Thomas is the best available for me. That's kind of what's looking like in ADP. I'm really not there in J.K. Dobbins. I think that's really early for him to go. Maybe not really early. What is that? That's kind of early. That's like the 25th overall pick. I wouldn't even take J.K. Dobbins. I probably wouldn't take J.K. Dobbins if he fell to me in like 5 or 6 more picks. My boy Sal, sup, Pimpin'? What's going on, Takeoff? Danny says, I don't like the 2 to 6 or so personally. Yeah, this is like 10 drafts that we've done now on Underdog, and I think that I've usually been like right around 2 or 10 through 12. I don't find myself in the middle a lot, so I guess I can't relate, but I do enjoy drafting. The one at the 2 is fine. I enjoy drafting at the 10 through 12 a decent amount more. So you're still seeing DeAndre Swift on the board. You're still seeing Michael Thomas. There goes Michael Thomas. Scary Terry's a great value. Where we're at right now, there's so many great values. I made a video specifically on one player, and he's still on the board, so I'm going to kind of wait and see. Kittle's still on the board for Kittle, who normally goes pretty early. So the best available guys left for me, I don't even want to say the one. We might have some snakes in the grass. I don't even think he's going to get to me because if I know the team that John roots for, just knowing from the area that John Kelly is from, he might be taking this based on his positionality of getting 2 wide receivers early. It seems like he might need a running back here, but we'll see. But yeah, guys like George Kittle are still available. That's somebody at the turn that I would take, right? If Kittle, and there you go, Miles Sanders was the guy that I was looking at. I didn't expect him to get another 5 picks to me. But Kittle's still available. Carson's still there. And then it kind of drops off at running back to where you might have to just go with some of these wide receivers, right? CeeDee Lamb, Amari, which I like Amari more than CeeDee Lamb. Chris Carson. So Kittle's still there. Is John Kelly going to snipe me on the Kittle pick? I like Waller much more, but I think we're at a spot right now where Kittle makes a lot of sense at the 36th or 37th overall pick in a best ball draft. If you're watching right now, this is not season-long leagues. This is best ball to try and win a tournament. Mike Evans goes. So 3 wide receivers in a row. Mike Evans, that's pretty damn early. I don't even know if I would take Mike Evans in probably not even the 5th round, which he's never going to fall there. So we're going to take Kittle here. We're going to get our big tight end, something that I haven't done often, but I think makes a lot of sense. And I might have just fucking missed this. Is Kittle gone? Did I just ruin this whole entire thing? Would make a lot of sense if Kittle was already gone. We'll go Carson. Chris Carson feels terrible, but we'll go there, and then we're going to go to Mari. So I think Kittle's fucking gone. Where did Kittle go? I got to make sure I have enough time. We can look at this afterwards. So I'm going to go wide receiver here. I got 3 running backs now. The tight ends I'm not taking. No Kyle Pitts, personally. Definitely not taking him this early. So wide receiver, it comes down to these guys, Amari or CeeDee Lamb, and I'm just going to go Amari. As much as I love CeeDee Lamb, especially like if we're talking dynasty, of course, but for season long this year, I'll take Amari. I'll take Amari with the 37th overall pick in the draft. Both of them are at a value at this point, in my opinion. Like if you're getting either CeeDee Lamb or Amari right now, they're both at pretty decent values for you. So we got Chris Carson. We'll take it. Normally, I would take a CeeDee Lamb and an Amari there, and then that's where you can really start to have that Dak stack if he comes back around to you. Don't know if Dak's going to be there, right? I have to wait another fucking 20 picks. So don't know if Dak's going to be there, 1. Where did Kittle go? Damn. DJ Moore, that's kind of early on. That's pretty damn early on DJ Moore. I can stomach the one personally, so you could take CMC and get a modified 0 RB with Kittle and Hopkins. That's fair. Yeah. I mean, the one's not terrible if you're getting CMC. After that, though, it's a little bit tough. Where did Kittle go this fucking early? Let's find these purple. So there goes Waller. So Kittle went at the 3-5. I don't know how I missed that. Fuck. Thought I was going to have a nice little start there. I feel like we still have a decent start. The Chris Carson pick, though, is just fucking buns. I really don't like picking that. But I see what happens when you don't go running back there. Then your RB3 quickly becomes like Javonte Williams, and that feels fucking brutal. This Best Ball Mania regular contest, says Danny. This is Best Ball Mania, $1,001 to first. This is, I believe, our 10th Best Ball Mania draft. We have secured 3 running backs. I probably don't plan on drafting another running back, or I probably will draft 1 running back more. Might not draft one for a while, but secure our running backs early. We got 1 wide receiver. The team is right here, right to my right. You can see it as we squeak through. Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb. Zoom in on it. Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, Chris Carson, Amari Cooper. So we're starting out there. Would have gone Kittle, but apparently I was wishful thinking that he was still on the board. So now we're in these middle rounds where we have to see which quarterbacks are left. Can we get Dak Prescott at this 5-6 turn? I don't think so, but if he's there, I got back-to-back picks. I'm snagging him, and I'll snag that early and try and stack it up with Amari, maybe get a Gallup later on, right? So can we make those things start to work out for us? It's something that we'll have to see as Josh Allen goes off the board. That's a really good pick by Paulie. So Paulie in the Discord right now. I know my man's probably watching this live. Yeah, he's having a good start to the draft in terms of where he's getting guys at value. I don't know what his entire team is looking like from is this positionality making sense standpoint. But in terms of value, it's looking good. It's looking good, my man Paulie. So who's left still on the board here? I mean, yeah, so Kittle's gone. Montgomery might be left. What's a good pick for Waller? Don't sleep on the Pats D. The Pats D? Well, what are we talking about the Pats D for? We ain't taking no defenses in this. I mean, this is Best Ball Mania. We ain't touching no defenses. That's why we like them. They don't put in them wacky defenses. We ain't got to worry about that shit. Jamar Chase goes. That's a quality pick right there, LT. So a good spot to take Waller. I mean, he goes in the second round a lot. When you're playing in these, if you're playing in regular season long, I'm just going to let other people take him that high. But when you're playing in a best ball tournament where you can get a really big advantage, best ball meaning that their highest score at that position each week, or 1 for a tight end, 2 for running backs, right? 2 for receivers, whatever it might be, gets taken. So if you have just 2 shitty tight ends and you're waiting to draft them late, which a lot of people do, you're maybe hoping that one scores a touchdown and scores you 10 points. Whereas like every single week, Waller and Kittle and more so Waller and Kelsey, if they stay healthy, are dropping like 16 plus points just from their target share alone. Montgomery for Sleepy Joe Biden is a quality pick there. So let's see who's still left on the board. I believe we still have like Kyler still left on the board. Adam Thielen just goes. That makes sense, but there's a lot of quarterbacks left. So I think I might be taking a quarterback. Adam Thielen's a kind of early pick there. Paulie back on the clock here. We're 8 picks away. A lot of quarterbacks left. I think I'm going to take a quarterback. I mean, we have Kyler, Lamar, and Dak Prescott. Those would be the 3 guys that I would be interested in at this next 5-6 turn. Probably not so interested in... He went right before the last pick. Got it. So Warden's in here watching live. What's going on, Danny P? How you doing? Went no running backs first 3 picks for this one. We'll see how it works. Best of luck. So there goes Kyler. So now even then though, Lamar and Dak are still available. There goes Lamar. God damn it. Paulie's watching the stream. People are starting the quarterback churn, if you will. So let's see if somebody can fall. Gaskin right there is a great pick. I mean, getting Gaskin midway through the 5th as Warden RB1, he said he went. That's a great pick there. I mean, I'm big on Gaskin. We made a video specifically on Gaskin and Miles Sanders and how I'm big on them. Motherfucker. So there goes Dak. So all the quality quarterbacks go in the 5th round. I mean, there's still a Jalen Hurts, who I think has massive upside, of course. I don't think he will fall to us at our next pick, but let's see what's available right now. Wide receivers. This is now my 5th and 6th pick. I'm not too high on Kenny Golladay, if I'm going to be honest with you. Kyler's now off the board. I mean, T. Higgins is still there. He looks fine. Chris Godwin is off the board. Deontay Johnson, did he already come off? He just went off the board. Goddamn, we're in a pretty bad spot here. So we're on the clock. There goes Kareem Hunt and Javonte. I mean, T. Higgins is probably the best available guy left. Hawkinson, I assume, is gone. Hawkinson's still there. So Hawkinson with this turn pick here, we can snag a guy who is upside at the position. I think we might do that. I think we might go wide receiver and then also Hawkinson. So let's go Hawkinson here. I like him more than Mark Andrews. So we'll go Hawkinson. We'll secure one of our tight ends. And I think we're going to pass on quarterback for now. Russell Wilson, I believe, is there. Russell Wilson is there if we wanted him. So is Herbert. I think we're going to pass on quarterback right now. We're going to go wide receiver. It's between Kenny Golladay for me and T. Higgins. Also, Brandon Ayuk being there as well. Let's go with T. Higgins, some competition. Brandon Ayuk can have manufactured touches. We'll go Kenny Golladay. I don't like any of those guys, though. Trying to pivot to a different position we did with tight end, but having the back-to-back pick, it kind of hurts you. Wasn't looking to try and go Herbert or Russell Wilson. I don't like that pick. I do like getting Kenny Golladay in the 6th. I will admit that. There's value on the bone there, in my opinion. But Kenny Golladay relies on volume, right? He relies more on volume. Or he is going to be somebody who you want to, what I should say is relies on volume downfield is the better way to say it. Like, you're not going to get Kenny Golladay being a PPR monster for you, which if you want to throw out the cliche, oh, it's best ball, that could fit the bill. But I'm okay where we're at right now. I don't even know what was available at running backs. T. Higgins is a good pick there. I mean, he falls a good amount, especially if you're trying to stack that up. So is Brandon Ayuk. What are a couple of your go-to stacks this year? I find myself getting the Eagles. Not a lot, but a decent amount. If you can get the Cowboys, great, but you kind of have to go with the, like, if Dak would have fell to me there, I would have had the Amari plus Dak and could have got somebody later on, like a tight end or Michael Gallup. So, like, that's fantastic if you can get it. I find myself getting some of the Ram stacks later by finishing off with Stafford and maybe a later round rookie, a Deshaun Jackson. Like, I like getting Stafford and Deshaun Jackson late, so if you were to get Cooper, Kupp, or Robert Woods earlier, that's kind of a full-on stack that you can build. Higbee somewhat in the middle of those rounds. But yeah, I guess I'm a little bit over the board. I do find myself getting Jalen Hurts a decent amount, though, in those types of stacks. Haven't really fallen on much Charger stacks personally, though. So you see Odell goes there. Jalen Hurts still available. I mean, maybe Jalen Hurts falls to us. I don't know who's still watching this right now in the streets and might try and snag him. So DJ Shark's an interesting guy. Let me know if you're in the chat right now or in the comments. What do you guys think of DJ Shark this year? I'm finding it hard to buy into the DJ Shark. Maybe not hype, but I mean, I get you got a new quarterback there, but he wasn't really efficient last year. He got some separation, which is clearly going to help him, but wasn't really efficient all that much, especially yards after the catch. He was basically a 0. So better quarterback play obviously going to help, but is it enough to kind of catapult him up at all for you? There's quarterbacks still available out there. We're still looking at Russell Wilson. We're still looking at Jalen Hurts, which are guys at this next turn for me, my 7th and 8th pick. I don't think they make it that far to me, but would be guys that I would look at as more and more guys go off the board. James Robinson goes there. Not really something that I'm personally looking at. Courtland Sutton has gone. So I'm still looking at wide receivers here. Like running back, you can try and get your 4th running back at this point. It's not terrible. There's the Damian Harrises of the world and all those fellas. It's not terrible. Damian Harris, Michael Carter, Leonard Fournette. The Leonard Fournette thing, I got a lot of Leonard Fournette early on. I'm a little bit concerned of Leonard Fournette now because they just keep hyping up Giovanni Bernard. And Giovanni Bernard fits more of a pass-catching build, definitely than Ronald Jones and similar to Leonard Fournette. Can you combo both Jags running backs? Definitely not. There goes Jalen Hurts. Yeah, in best ball, you definitely don't want to be taking both Jags running backs because if one actually helps you do anything, it means the other one's doing nothing for you, right? So it's just wasting a roster spot. So definitely would not recommend doing that. Russell Wilson is falling pretty fucking far right now. Like we're getting close to the middle. I mean, we're early 7th, but he continues to fall. That's a good pick on Robbie Anderson. Is Judy still available? Judy's still available too. But yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson, I was going to say fucking Westbrook, has gone. Faded Shark last year and still haven't come around this year. I prefer Visca or getting Marvin Jones real late. Yeah, I like Marvin Jones real late. I don't really like Visca at all, I'll be honest with you. Was fine after the catch last year, but the way that they used him was so close to the line of scrimmage that it's really hard for him to, I would say, like blow up in a positive way. Fuller goes early there. Tyler Boyd's not somebody that I'm high on at all. Warden goes Tyler Boyd there. I'm really not there. Tyler Boyd, I find it hard for him to succeed this year. Just with Mixon healthy, going to probably take on a 12 to 15% target share. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins probably going to be 20+% each. Like Tyler Boyd, for a guy who needs those massive target seasons, now with Jamar Chase and actual alpha coming in, it's a little bit concerning to see how that's going to continue for him. So Goddard goes. That's a really good pick this late in the drafts if you're trying to find like a massive upside tight end. Jerry Jeudy's still on the board. We'll see how far that he actually falls. Debo goes there. Not a terrible pick. So I'm looking at wide receivers now. I would have gone Jalen Hurts. Russell Wilson has fallen a massive amount right now. Do I really want to try and get Russell Wilson here? And what am I stacking him with? Dwayne Escridge and like Gerald Everett late? I think we did that in the last draft. It's not that appealing. We do need to start to get a fucking quarterback, though. That is something that is true. Based on the guys that we have right now, we can stack him up with... I mean, we have Amari and Kenny Golladay, so we can complete a Giants stack pretty fucking late. We have TJ Hawkinson. We can complete a Goff stack pretty late if we really want to. So I think we can kind of complete a Giants stack late because a lot of those guys, Sterling Shepard rarely ever goes. So Curtis Samuel goes there. Alrighty. I mean, Jerry Jeudy is just a slam dunk here. I'm surprised Jerry Jeudy is still on the clock at the end of the 7th. I mean, this is just a fucking slam dunk. Give me this all day. Don't want to stack him with Drew Lock, of course, but actually it could very well be Teddy Bridgewater. So Jerry Jeudy, slam dunk over the top rope. Give me Jerry Jeudy. And then I think we just got to take Russ here. He's fallen so fucking far. I mean, I'm shocked that Russ is... I don't even want to stack him with Dwayne Escridge at this point, right? Because Lockett and DK are obviously gone. But this is just like value. Like Russ has fallen beginning of the 8th round, a round and a half. Russ's ADP is 72. We just took Russ. I mean, unless something came out in the last hour, Russ's ADP is 72, and we just took him with like the 85th overall pick. And obviously he wouldn't be there again. So yeah, I think we're just going to take him. Have you experimented with any zero RB strategies in these best ball manias? I'm usually one to stack with zero wide receivers, but I like having some builds with mid to late round running backs. I personally am not really, I guess I don't really enjoy drafting zero RB for best ball. If you want to do it for like an FFPC, I think that makes more sense, like a season-long league where there's waivers and fab budget. But trying to go zero RB in these types of builds just doesn't make as much sense. Like the reason you go zero RB is so you can take advantage of the waiver wire, right? You're not taking advantage of guessing the running backs whose guys get hurt. It's so you can take advantage of the waiver wire and spend your whole fucking fab budget on it. At least that's how I interpret a successful zero RB build. So if you're going out there and like attempting to guess at which one of these mid-round, like you're just not going to be able to guess at it. Zero RB makes sense when you can just go out there. Maybe it's like a 22 or 24 or 28 round draft and just compile on every single second and third string running back. It's just tough for it to really make sense for me. Like last year, James Robinson was one of the top running backs in fantasy, and a lot of people drafting best ball drafts didn't draft him because he didn't fucking matter until a week before the season, when Fournette was cut, when Armstead got COVID, and when Devine Ezigbo got an ankle injury. Literally, all 3 running backs went down within a week to 2 weeks of the season. And then it was James Robinson year, and so many guys didn't even have him on his radar, and you can't pick him up, right? So yeah, I'm not in the camp of drafting zero RB when it comes to the best ball mania stuff. If you want to go for it in any other format, I'm okay with that, but not when it comes to this. So Hollywood Brown goes at the 8-8. That is probably appropriate. So now we got to see with the roster construction. We got our 3 running backs. We got 1 quarterback in Russ, and you can say what you want. I don't know how I'm really going to stack Russ at this point outside of a late tight end or something like that. We got TJ Hawkinson, which we can stack up for Detroit. Some interesting pieces there. Amari, Kenny, and Jerry Jeudy. So not many great quarterbacks we can kind of stack, but we kind of forced our hand with Russ, and I think we can get a Daniel Jones stack late, which is kind of appealing, at least for me. Alrighty, so let's see what's going off the board right now. You can see some wide receivers are going. Then Lenny Fournette goes. Lenny Fournette, again, somebody I have a lot of right now. I'm just concerned. Like, that's a good spot to get Leonard Fournette, almost at the end of the 8th round for a guy who's going on average right now, ADP, much earlier than that, like 7th round. But what is Giovanni Bernard going to be over his role over the next month? Like, if Giovanni Bernard comes out in the first preseason game and looks fucking good, there's going to be some issues, right? Michael Carter now goes. Quality option there. Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers. So now we're getting some quarterbacks to go off the board. Is Zach Moss still available? Yeah, Zach Moss is available, and he literally goes as we say his name. Shout out Sleepy Joe Biden. Mike Williams goes. All right, so let's start to see some guys that we can target now. Tight ends, good amount of tight ends left for where we're at right now. Logan Thomas is still on the board. That's probably your best available tight end. We're going to keep pounding wide receiver, though. Like, there was just a somewhat of a run on running backs, which makes it not as appealing, I would say. Somewhat of a run on running backs makes it not as appealing to want to go running back now. Tony Pollard. So, yeah, like, I'm not going to take a running back at this point when they're just all going off the board. Like, your best available. I'll just take my 4th running back at some other point. A.J. Dillon is available, but we just did a video with Aaron Jones in it for top 10 running backs. So I'll hit you up on Twitter about DK. No response. I'm scared. Why do you hate best ball and DK? I don't know what you're saying about hate best ball and DK. I mean, so first of all, DK doesn't even have a platform for, like, desktop. So they're only app friendly, and Underdog is built so much better. Underdog is a best ball platform. DK built their platform for best ball in like a month last year before the season started just to compete with Underdog, literally because Underdog put that much pressure on the industry, right? And they were previously fantasy draft. So yeah, they're a much better product. Their app is probably one of the best apps I've ever used, not only in just this space, but just in general. Like, their app is one of the best apps I've ever used in terms of easeability. It's by far the best in the fantasy space. So the product is better. Their actual mission is better, to create a good best ball product, not DK that's just trying to quickly offer some sort of contest. If you're talking from a game theory standpoint, yeah, DK's contest probably won't fill as much because it's only on mobile, and not as many people know about it because they don't promote it as much because they don't care as much about that. They just want people to stay on their platform instead of jumping over to Underdog's platform, right? From a business standpoint, it makes sense. Antonio Brown is still here right now. That's not terrible. Let's see who else is on the board. Jalen Waddle's off the board. I think I'm going to go Antonio Brown at this point. So let's load up on some wide receivers. Let's go back-to-back receivers. We'll take a peek at the other positions. Logan Thomas, not bad, but we already got one. Quarterbacks, Tom Brady. We can kind of start that stack right now with Tom Brady and then try and get a Gronk later. I don't really think we need to do that, though. Let's go back to the well with... I do like going to the late quarterback after we already got Russ. Fuck it, let's go with Brady. I don't usually take two quarterbacks. I mean, I guess I took Brady in the 10th. I don't usually take two quarterbacks that early, but we're secured on quarterback now. We got Brady and Russell Wilson, and that feels good. And we already have a built-in stack now with Brady and Antonio Brown. We can close that one up with a very late Rob Gronkowski or somewhat later Rob Gronkowski. We can close that one up if you want to go in any other directions as well. Like, obviously, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are off the board, but you can go with, like, if you really wanted to go Scotty Miller in, like, the 18th overall pick. It's not terrible. Looks good, brother. What's going on, Fantasy Stock Exchange? How you doing? Appreciate it. Yeah, so the draft is going quality so far. We secured strong tight end. We kind of walked our way into a stack right there with Antonio Brown and Tom Brady. Antonio Brown dealing with some injuries right now, but nothing major. We got 3 running backs and 3, I would say 2 studs, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, and then Chris Carson. And then it's just going to be filling out. We have a stud tight end. We don't have to take another one until later. Maybe even a Gerald Everett just to kind of complete a little bit of a Seahawks stack. We do have Chris Carson with Russ, which is kind of an offensive stack more so than correlation. But guys going off the board right now, I know we're on full screen, so if you have any questions, they'll pop up. Mike Gesicki, Ronald Jones, Trey Lance. The team right now, Russ Wilson and Tom Brady, we're done at QB. I don't need to go back to QB with those kinds of quarterbacks, right? Top 10 quarterbacks. Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, Chris Carson. We could probably secure another running back. Who will it be? I don't fucking know. We'll see who's available late. Maybe a Giovanni Bernard is available late. There is a stack for Tom Brady, right? Giovanni Bernard continues to get some hype. It's only June, but continues to get some hype. So that's something that's going to be on our radar. Darnell Mooney just went at the 10-7. Great spot. So I'm going to queue Giovanni Bernard just for later. And I'll also queue Phillip Lindsay because he's in a backfield where it's just a bunch of old men. Like Phillip Lindsay at 27 is the youngest guy in his backfield right now. Best ball drafting is so much fun. It really is. Amari Cooper, Kenny Golladay, Jerry Jeudy, and Antonio Brown. I love them all. Jerry Jeudy is a wide receiver 3 I like a lot. The only guy I really don't like is Kenny Golladay, but we got him in the 6th. And then TJ Hawkinson. So that's where we're at with the team right now. Let's go back to just the bigger screen here. There we go. Yeah, if you're wondering, if you're watching this live, we're also on the replay where I'm sure a lot of people are watching. This is Underdog Fantasy, right? $1,001 the first. There's a link in the description below if you want to sign up for it. You could also use the code SAL. In any amount you deposit, even if it's $1, they'll give you $25 to play with, which is actually the buy-in. You don't have to, but you could use that to get into the Best Ball Mania, trying to win $1,001. So we've queued up Giovanni Bernard and Phillip Lindsay just so I could remember to try and take those guys later on in the draft. I'll also put on here Dwayne Escridge, who I'm not crazy about, but second-round pick. Second-round pick in the draft, and you can kind of pair him up with what's happening right now with this kind of stack, and we'll put on Gerald Everett for the exact same reason. So just guys I'm just going to put on here just to kind of remember, like, okay, these are guys that we can complete some stacks with if we wanted to, but nothing of priority by any means. Gronk will be the other one just because these are guys that I can potentially look at depending on where the ADP is and where we're going. So those are some guys that we put on there. You comfortable taking a guy like Fields as your QB? As my QB2, yes. As my QB2, I'd be comfortable. I do think Fields, if he doesn't start the season, I think Fields has a better chance to start the season than Mac Jones or Trey Lance. So I feel comfortable taking him as a QB2, not as a QB1, though. Definitely not as a QB1 personally. Same exact analysis would happen, though. Like Trey Lance, I'd be okay with as a QB2. So let's see where we're going right now. Cole Beasley goes, that's good. Marvin Jones goes, that's fine. So we're getting a lot of guys to come off the board. I mean, James Conner went so early in this draft, like kind of disgustingly early. Just trying to clear off a couple of guys that have already gone off the board. Seems like we have already gotten all these guys off the board. Okay, so now we're approaching the 12th round. We're approaching some of the last drafts as well. Thank you. I love Draft App. Hate FanDuel bought it. Yeah, I mean, FanDuel bought it. There was a year-long, from a business standpoint, non-compete. And literally, like, probably till like the month that non-compete ended, Underdog Fantasy launched. They were the exact same owner, Jeremy Levine, creator, a bunch of the same team as well. So they're just fleecing the market. Thank you for your video on running back rankings. You the man. Yeah, no problem. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Yeah. Obviously at this time in the year, I'm probably a little bit too early on making fantasy football content. I know there's some people who do it year round, but that's more so to keep their like channels actually like sustainable in the SEO, since I cover other sports as well. Like NBA right now is in the heat of that. I don't usually go as year round, but I would say that we're probably doing it like a month too early. Like July makes a little bit more sense to start getting into it. But yeah, I have some time right now with the NBA playoffs not having as much demand So let's now go, and we're going to keep looking. I mean, we got our 2 quarterbacks. We're going to keep looking at wide receivers. Wide receivers and running backs, I think, are fine to look at this point. But we'll keep looking at wide receivers as my next couple of picks are coming up right now. So quarterbacks we're done with. We can use another tight end, but we can get like a Gerald Everett later, maybe even a Gronk a little bit later on if he's still available. So looking at wide receivers right now, I mean, Nelson Aguilar is just somebody that I continue to get. Maybe I have to make a video that involves Nelson Aguilar. I don't know if he makes it to me in a couple of picks, but I get so much Nelson Aguilar, and he is easily my best available right now. Easily, it's not relatively close. JL's in the chat. What's going on, boss man? How you doing? We've seen JL on this Sunday, right? Yeah. David Johnson goes. Gross. AJ Dillon at the end of the or mid 11th is fine. We'll see. We'll see if Nelson Aguilar makes it to us. Rondell Moore is still on the board. He's somebody that I don't even think I've drafted yet, but I'm okay to get there. We have a Amon-Ra St. Brown on the board, which if you're kind of thinking what I'm thinking, I'm not going to take 3 quarterbacks, but that can kind of complete some sort of a team stack, not so much relying on Jared Goff, but just a team to have some offensive success. And St. Brown would make sense as a receiver. We already have Hawkinson. Versker goes. John Kelly takes Tannehill. I think Aguilar is the pick here, man. I mean, Julio can go to the Patriots and just kind of ruin everything, but I just keep getting Aguilar. Like, we're at the end of the 11th round. This is literally like the 120th pick off the board. I think Aguilar is my pick here. I only need really wide receiver help, and he's right now the wide receiver 1 in this team. So we're going to go Aguilar. We got back-to-back picks, though. Anything available at running back at this point before things start to get a little bit gross? Latavius Murray is there, right? But there are those guys later on that I don't mind. So looking at running back right now, yeah, I think I'm going to stay away from running back. We only got 15 seconds, so it's going to be wide receiver on my end. Rondell Moore, I think, is going to be the play for me. Yeah, we'll go Rondell Moore here. So the first rookie, I believe, that we've taken, Rondell Moore, we'll take it. So now we're at with wide receivers. So we still need a tight end and a running back, but the running backs, like I said, Philip Lindsay and Giovanni Bernard, I'm looking to take super late and probably even in the 18th round for Giovanni Bernard. I think as the season gets closer, Bernard is going to really be pushing for a decent role on that team, and the combination of all of his success comes from correlation with Tom Brady for the most part, right? Ron Jones 2 down back. There's a chance Bernard can push Fournette, of course. Fournette re-signing for just basically like league minimum. Amari, Kenny Galladay, Jerry Jeudy, Antonio Brown, Nelson Aguilar, and Rondell Moore. So we got 6 receivers. It's looking like we're probably going to take 10 receivers, which is kind of a trend now. If Gerald Everett's going to be a tight end that I'm looking at, or Gronk later on, Gronk we'd have to pull the trigger on probably at our next turn. Everett we can wait on. There's just so many tight ends. Like look at tight ends like Jonnu, Gronk, Jarwin. We already have Hawkinson, so it's not like we're forced to take one of these guys. You can get Ebron so late. I really don't know the hate on Eric Ebron. I get that they drafted a 2nd-round tight end out of Penn State, Pat Freiermuth. Fantastic player, but, I mean, come on, rookie tight ends, I don't know how much they're really going to contribute. For Ebron, who last year towards the end of the season was just a walking 12 to 14 fantasy points, right? So I think waiting on tight end makes sense. We're going to get some late-round receivers and like a Dwayne Escridge probably. So it's just still loading up on receiver. This is great. I mean, I could just take like 5 receivers in a row right now. What a benefit of taking one tight end earlier. And, I mean, I might start to do this approach a little bit more. We took Hawkinson in like the 6th, and then we took Hawkinson at the 5th and then Russ at the 6th. The next turn we took Antonio Brown, I believe, and Tom Brady at the 10th pick. So not bad. Their O-line is not so good, and hopefully the receivers pick up. Says JL's now on. He went from Twitter to YouTube. Who's O-line? I guess which team we talking about? Is PSU now tight end you? Boom. Yeah, they've been lately, right? Mike Gesicki and Pat Freiermuth, they've been lately. That's for damn sure. I mean, they had Jesse James back in the day. If you remember Jesse James, he was a Steeler as well. Hawkinson in the 5th is a great value. Yeah, I think we got him in the 5th. I'm pretty sure we can look back in a second. We got a lot of picks. So Gronk goes there, so he's off the queue now. So that's one stacking option gone. Still looking at receivers though. I mean, Crowder's still fucking there. Oh my God. I mean, Crowder is going to be available this is the 13th round. And Crowder might not even be close to coming off. News is breaking today that Crowder is like not at OTAs because he's trying to renegotiate his contract. That might be good. That's probably bad, to be honest with you. So it's not something that I want to pull the trigger on yet. But the second that if he takes a pay cut, the second that he does that, it's just wheels up for Crowder, in my opinion. It just becomes wheels up at that point. Paris Campbell's still on the board. We're coming up on a pick here. I'm going to take Paris Campbell if he's available. If not, Josh Reynolds is still floating around out there. Who else we still have on the board above us? Denzel Mims I'm fine taking. So lots of options here. Lots of options with what I would say upside. Amon-Ra St. Brown is still on the board. Yeah, so Reynolds goes. I kind of already know where we're going to be going here. We have receivers. We have a shit ton of them. And we're going to be taking at least one and probably two. We got back-to-back picks, so we'll see what happens. Oh, via Ebron. I got to see what you're saying there. Their O-line is not so good, and hopefully the receivers pick up. Yeah, I mean, Pat Freiermuth is a fine blocker, a better blocker than Eric Ebron. Like, Ebron was picked as back in the day when he was a top 10 pick, first round pick, whatever it was. He was picked for the reason of being a receiver, not a blocker. Where Pat Freiermuth can block and help that offensive line, but I don't think, if anything, that helps Ebron if they're going to run 2 tight end sets more, which I doubt they do since they have 3 quality receivers. But yeah, that offensive line is bad. It projects out to be bad again, but offensive line can flip so easily. Like the Rams last year, although they didn't have Witherspoon for the year, they were projecting out to be one of the worst offensive lines, and they finished literally, I think, top 3 on PFF grading. So like those things can flip really quickly just from one piece holding down a line for you. Singletary goes, so now we're on the board. So Mims and Paris Campbell went. Those are guys that I was actually looking into a good amount. But we have Amon-Ra St. Brown still there. I'm going to take Amon-Ra St. Brown. Second guy I taken from Detroit, which is scary. But we'll take Amon-Ra St. Brown. Projects out maybe to be the wide receiver 1 there. And now looking at another receiver, any running backs now? So Phillip Lindsay still, okay. I think we might have to pull the trigger soon on Phillip Lindsay. Let's see. We're through 13 rounds. We'd be taking Phillip Lindsay like a round before he's supposed to go here. We don't have to. Giovanni Bernard's still there later. So wide receivers are still on the board. I think I'm going to go ahead and take me some. Let's go Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, this is just like whoever the fuck I took here is the same guy. Whether it's Sanders, whether it's Sterling Shepard, none of them are going to be helping me out from a stacking standpoint. Crowder is a guy that I did like. I don't think he gets back around to me. If I can do that again with another like 10 seconds, I'd probably take Crowder over Sanders. Maybe there's a chance he gets back to me for the people watching the stream like Ward and West and Paulie in the chat right now. And maybe even John Kelly. If Crowder stays, that would be really nice. But this next time around, we're probably going running back, secure our 4th running back, whether it's Gio or Phillip Lindsay. We'll take them in the fucking, 15, 16th pick, which is fine. And then, yeah, it's secure another tight end. Everett would be ideal, but so many tight ends still left. They're going to start to fly off the board, though. Like, Jonnu at this point in drafts is just, unreal. I know he's splitting with Hunter Henry, but he's going to have a lot more opportunity, I believe, especially after the catch. Do you like Indy tight end with Wentz at QB? Do I like the Indy tight ends with Wentz at QB? Not really. Not really. Are they gone? So Mo Alley Cox is like the tight end of consequence there. Is Jack Doyle still on this football team? I guess not really. I haven't even put much thought into the Indy tight ends. They just don't project out that well for me. Jack Doyle, 215 ADP, gets taken in basically the last round or two. If it's him or like Dalton Schultz, I'd probably still go Dalton Schultz. If it's him or like O.J. Howard, I'd go with some of these Indy tight ends. Well, there's just so much. Like Austin Hooper. People are down on Austin Hooper. People forget that he had, like, people forget so quickly about Jonnu Smith goes right there. That's a quality pick. Jared Cook goes. Those are some good tight ends going. So maybe we'll have to take a tight end here and get our second tight end. He is Trey Burton, too. It's a mess. Yeah, Trey Burton has an odd package, I would say. Pause, what do we say there? Has an odd package where the way that he's used on that team, it's a little odd. But people just forget so quickly when players get hurt. Like, all this talk about Bryan Edwards and Henry Ruggs, obviously, like, the offense that they're in isn't as great for them. But all this talk about, like, Henry Ruggs, people forget, had a lower body injury in week 1, an injury that usually takes like 2 months to get right. Same exact thing for Bryan Edwards, like in week 2 to 3 of the regular season, right? Jalen Reagor, same thing happens to him. He misses a month. Like, people just forget that these rookies dealing with lower body injuries, like it's nothing. Now, Austin Hooper's wasn't a lower body injury. He had his appendix removed. Austin Hooper has his appendix removed midway through the season, comes out of having his appendix removed and has double-digit weeks, like 3 out of 4 weeks. And for whatever reason, Austin Hooper's going in like the 16th, 17th rounds of drafts. It's just so, it's interesting because I think a lot of people don't follow the league fully, like during the actual season. Like, they might play fantasy, but they don't like follow it as in depth as they do when they have so much time on their hands in the off season, whether it's because it's people working 9 to 5 part-time jobs or just people aren't as in tune week to week as much, or they get in a process where they're just ranking players and using it based off projections and not like actually going game by game. And I think me covering DFS helps with that because I know like literally every single week, every injury that's being dealt with, even if it's on the defense or offensive line, and how it can affect the game, projecting it. But people forget so quickly. Like, I hear a lot of people just have analysis out there about players and not pointing out the fact that they had like a high ankle sprain, right? Like Michael Thomas is being disrespected, had a high ankle sprain week 1 of the season, came back, re-injures himself. That's an injury that normally will take, 3 to 4 months to recover from fully. Facts, recency bias is real. Yeah, recency bias as well. Kadarius Toney, 15-7. He's going a lot earlier. I was getting Toney like a month ago in the 17th round. Sometimes he wasn't even drafted in these 18 mans. I mean, first round pick, going to be somewhat into the offense. So let's see. Dwayne Escridge is somebody that I like to pair up with Russ just to have some sort of correlation there. We already have him with Carson. We have AB and Brady. We can kind of close that Tampa Bay stack off with a Giovanni Bernard, which doesn't feel great. It's probably still too soon to take Giovanni Bernard. So Philip Lindsay's approaching. So we're probably going to go, let's see. How late does Everett usually go? Right around now. So we'll probably go Everett here since he usually goes right around now since we are 15 rounds into this. The ADP right now is around pick 180. Everett's ADP is 167. If John doesn't snipe me on Everett, we will get a little bit of a Seattle stack going here with Everett. Finish up our tight ends. All right, so we got back-to-back picks. It doesn't matter who we take first. So we take Everett there. We finish up our tight ends with Everett in a stack with Russ and Chris Carson to an extent, and we have TJ Hawkinson. So now wide receivers and one running back. I think we can go Dwayne Escridge and just go big on Seattle here. I think we can. Let's see what else is available out there right now. Not much. Like Tyrell Williams, no. Darius Slayton, no. I think the answer is Dwayne Escridge here. Dwayne Escridge is going right now usually at like the 197. That's way too far. I want to be ahead of the curve on Dwayne Escridge. He's probably going to close shop in the 170. So we get Dwayne Escridge, and that's how you do it, folks. That's how you get a late motherfucking stack. Russ Wilson with value in the 6th round somehow, and then you go back-to-back Gerald Everett, Dwayne Escridge late. That's how you build a late stack with a quality quarterback. And we also have Chris Carson. So without even wanting to stack the Seattle offense, we kind of worked our way into that one. So I like that. So we have a complete stack. We have a mini stack with Brady and Antonio Brown. We can close that one up with a Giovanni Bernard if he's there in like the 18th round. Giovanni Bernard is literally the only running back on this entire, and there's people watching this, so I hope just please don't snipe me, right? You know what I'm saying here. He might be the only running back left that I care about. Like James White's there. I don't know what he's going to do. He had a 17.8% target share last year. Who knows, though, with other quarterbacks coming into play there. There's not much left down here. Like Elijah Mitchell, one guy gets hurt in that backfield. There's still 10 guys. Same thing for Wayne Gallman. So we're playing it a little bit risky. There's decent guys. Like Darrell Williams is down here. Sony Michel, people think is just going to be a cut candidate. I think people forget how efficient Sony Michel was when he was actually healthy last year. I get that he's not involved in the passing game, and Damian Harris is probably better than him there. But the love for Damian Harris as like the 7th and 8th round running back that everybody wants to scoop up this year, which those usually don't fucking pan out at all. But the love for him early on it's already too much. And we're only in June, so like we're in this bubble of fantasy football Twitter where like everybody's just like, holy shit, this guy is like going to be the greatest thing. This was happening with Deontay Johnson last year. Became like a 6-7 round pick, was obviously worth it, and then people cooled down when the season got closer. I think that probably happens with Damian Harris because everybody likes Damian Harris. They saw the volume that he was getting at points last year. They completely turned a blind eye to actually Sony Michel being productive last year and going to be involved there. And they automatically think that Sony Michel is going to be like a cap casualty or something. Which, if they try and bring on Julio Jones, is a possibility, right? But still, I like Everett's upside. Ingram, too. He could be a great value this year. Yeah, Evan Ingram's great. The problem with Evan Ingram is he's not a tight end. Like, he's a wide receiver, and he was drafted as a tight end early, and every fucking year he gets hurt because he goes over the middle of the field against guys who are way bigger than him because he's playing an undersized tight end position. So he's going up against guys. That would be like if these, I mean, he's not a slot. He's not that small. But he's not even like a Chris Godwin size. Like, he's not a plus-sized wide receiver. He's just a wide receiver, but he plays tight end. And he gets injured when he goes over the middle of the field a shit ton. Giovanni Bernard goes at the 16-11. So, motherfucker. Now we got to just take the trashiest of all trash running backs. I mean, there's Chiefs running backs here, though. Like, if anything happens to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, there's Jerick McKinnon and there's Darrell Williams out there in the last round that I can take them. So, my last pick is just going to be a running back. We're going to go wide receiver, running back. We'll see what rookies are left. I continue to take Amir Smith-Marset. I'm sure he'll be on the board when I get there. Yeah. I continue to take him late because there's no wide receiver 3 right now in Minnesota. God forbid something happens to 30-year-old Adam Thielen. Amir Smith-Marset already is in 3 wide receiver sets, in my opinion, right? Drafted this year. He'll just be even higher up there. Deshaun Jackson's still available. They signed him. He's obviously going to be used. I think he's going to start the season off ahead of Van Jefferson and ahead of Tutu Atwell. And there goes Deshaun Jackson as we say his name. I should just keep my mouth shut before too many of these guys that I let go. There's still so many guys left, though. Still a lot of guys left. I love Smith, Marset. Yeah, like it's not even that I like really like Marset. It's just like when you get down to this point at times, a lot of guys start to go. Like Olmendeed is down here if Julio gets traded. I'm not sold on Julio getting traded. We'll see what happens there. But you're down in these ranges, and there's not much that you're picking between down here. Like Tutu Atwell, no thanks. Dede Westbrook, I don't even know if he still plays football. He was like not even playing running routes last year. Scotty Miller would be an interesting. Scotty Miller might be the move. Nobody wants Scotty Miller. There's no reason to want Scotty Miller unless, I mean, he was one of the best slot wide receivers in college football history, right? Comes to the NFL, plays very well with, he starts to play ahead of Tyler Johnson, plays very well with Tom Brady. Scotty Miller might be the answer. The problem is, though, obviously, a healthy Antonio Brown hurts that a little bit. But there is spike weeks for Scotty Miller in there. We throw him into this later rounds Tampa Bay, Antonio Brown, Scotty Miller stack. Look, Chris Godwin dealt with injuries a ton last year. Mike Evans is another year older and going overvalued in drafts. There is some room for Scotty Miller. It'll be interesting, though, because Tyler Johnson started to play in the postseason in the Super Bowl, if that will be some sort of competition for Miller. But Miller kind of has his own built-in role. So I think my pick's going to be Scotty Miller. I have enough Amir Smith-Marset. I have 0 shares of Scotty Miller. We combined this. We kind of just backdoored a lot of these stacks, right? Antonio Brown, Tom Brady, Scotty Miller. I like that one. There's upside, obviously, in the type of player that Scotty Miller is. And now we only have 3 running backs, so let's just close it up with one of these shitty running backs. Javion Hawkins, the undrafted guy that everybody likes, whatever, right? Elijah Mitchell, Salvin Ahmed, Malcolm Brown is good for a touchdown vulture. You know what? Devontae Booker makes a lot of sense. I know they drafted Gary Brightwell, or whatever the fuck his name is. I'm going to go Devontae Booker. 18th round, the backup to Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley coming off of back-to-back years of injuries. They did draft the running back. Gary Brightwell, I believe was his name. Absolutely no production in college. I want to say he's from Arizona. I don't even really remember. Let's see if the brain of mine can remember like the 3 times that I looked at Gary Brightwell when doing some rookie profiles. But there we go. There's 18 rounds. Was it Arizona? Gary Brightwell was from Arizona. Look at that. I mean, no production at all in college. Like, literally fucking no production. His breakout year was last year. In 5 games, he averaged 4.4 yards per carry. Let me say that again. 4.4 yards per carry, 88 attempts, 390 yards, and 1 touchdown. That was his best season in college football, if you're talking about overall usage in the passing game as well. But before that, 66 attempts, right? 91 attempts in 2018. Like, this guy barely involved. Saw some more work in the passing game as a senior at Arizona. He had a 7.9% target share instead of his previous high of 2%. So my guess is Devontae Booker runs ahead of him. And Wayne Gallman was a top 20 running back for like 5 or 6 straight weeks last year. So there is some upside out of the backup in New York, especially as they continue to definitely not improve the offensive line, but improve the overall offense, whether it's Kadarius Toney, obviously Kenny Galladay. So Amir Smith-Marset goes. I think we're good. Let's recap the team. Again, if you're watching to this point or you're just watching it not live, check out Underdog Fantasy. You can play in the $1,000,001 Best Ball Mania 2 to first place. You could use other options as well. There's a bunch of other tournaments, 12-mans, 3-mans, other sports, NBA, MLB, NHL, a shit ton of stuff. So check it all out. We'll be drafting weekly, probably on Fridays for right now, weekly, and then also doing some other private drafts with the Discord members, so you can sign up for that down below. But Underdog Fantasy, if you want to use the code SAL or the link in the description, either one works. Any money you put in, even if it's just $1 or $2, they'll smack you right back with $25 to play with, which is actually enough to try and win $1 million. Gainwell could be a high upside pick if Sanders goes down. Yes, potentially. They don't have any depth. Like, they don't have depth there. Like, Gainwell's not even depth to me. He sat out a whole last year. The year before that, sure, he started ahead of Antonio Gibson and had a quality season in fucking Memphis, the conference that they're playing in. Like, we've seen some of those guys suck, right? We've seen some glimpses out of Tony Pollard. We've seen Gibson look good, and we've seen Henderson stink. So, like, where we can't just assume that he's Tony Pollard or Antonio Gibson, but we haven't even seen him in a full year. So Gainwell is interesting to me because, yeah, you need a Miles Sanders injury, which he's been somewhat durable, right? He gets nicked up in games, but somewhat durable. And then there's still, Boston Scott's still going to be there, right? 6th-round pick, pretty close to Gainwell's 5th-round capital. I do think Gainwell will be involved, and I think he's a fine 18th-round pick. I'll take the straight backup to a full potential workhorse role because it's Brightwell out there in New York and then nobody. But, alrighty, that's where we're at. Yeah, use that code SAL, $25 when you sign up. Like and subscribe before you go. We'll continue to be dropping this week. Every single day we drop the fantasy football video on top of the NFL, NBA live streams, on top of the NFL morning videos. So we're fucking working to the bone here. But the NFL or the NBA is going to be wrapping up in a month. So we just got to get through this next month of not even the busy season because that's when the NFL comes, but this next month of just the annoyance season, I guess you can say. All right, everybody. Peace out. I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day.